Hey guys, this is another special edition of Unger the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger, and I want to welcome you all watching the show right now. Sorry for the delay. We had some issues in the beginning, but we are here now, ready to entertain you. So originally, we were supposed to have on Brud Anderson. He's an actor, wrestling promoter, and politician. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today due to some personal reasons. So instead, we're going to play a pre-recorded interview I did with Anthony McCarten, who is actually the screenwriter of the upcoming Winston Churchill film Darkest Hour. And it's a great film. The interview went well, and it really shed some light on Winston Churchill's life. And it's just a really great movie. And here is the interview.
Very good. I'm very well. Thank you.
Oh, good. Good. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I saw the film last night. Incredible.
Oh,
amazing.
There? Very good.
Yes, I'm a fan. And yeah, I mean, just tell me, how did you get involved with the project?
Well, it was a passion project of mine for 10 years. I guess it was 10 years ago that I first realized that 3 of the greatest speeches ever written were by Winston Churchill, and he wrote and delivered them within a 4-week span of each other. And when I did a bit of digging, I found that the reasons for that were no less than the collapse of Europe to Nazi invasion and massive domestic pressure on him to do a peace deal with Hitler. And I thought, wow, there's a movie. But I was a little intimidated. I was a little intimidated by the prospect of, writing words for the master wordsmith. And so I kind of set it aside, and then I did Theory of Everything, and had such a happy experience making that film that I felt a little bit more courageous. And then, so I thought, I'll roll the dice and have a go. So then I wrote the screenplay in pretty quick time, and then put down my pen and put on my producer's hat and thought, okay, let's make it. So I found working title with whom I'd made Theory of Everything. Then we sent the script to Gary, and Gary responded to the script. And then we had to find a director, and eventually Joe Wright became available. He'd been making Pan, I think, his last movie. And we had the core team. Then things moved very quickly.
Now, what was the research process like?
I had to strain every sinew to get it right. You always have to get it right when it's historically based, but especially with someone like Churchill, because especially in Britain, it's sacred ground. And you have to walk very, very carefully and get it right. So a lot of research, so much research that I've even put out a book that is a companion, a history book that's now a companion history book to the movie. And we're very encouraged that all the historians and the academics and even the Churchill family are thrilled by the finished film. So they've allowed us to think, that we got it right.
That's awesome. What was it like working with Joe Wright?
A joy and an education. I've directed 2 films myself, and so I kind of know how I would approach any scene, and the way Joe does it is just so different from certainly how I do it, or I think how most people would approach filming a scene. So I would say I was there every day of the shoot, and I had official reasons to be there, but I was really there as a film fan, just soaking up these lessons.
Now, I know you wear many hats: writer, producer, director, previous films. Is it difficult to view the film from certain vantage points, like as a director or a writer? Is it different? Do you approach the film differently and view it differently that way?
Kind of, yeah. You have precious scenes as a writer that as a producer you have to sacrifice and put to the sword. So that takes some getting used to, but that's when you want to be a hyphenate. You have to, and you have to look at it from a different perspective. So favorite scenes, you realize, okay, we're not going to have the budget to do that. We're not going to have time in the schedule, and but there's a real positive, because then you can really actively, as being the writer as well, come up with a solution. So although you might have to cut a scene, you can come up with a way of taking the idea and putting and seeding it in some other scene. So it's a really nice sort of position to be in.
Okay. What were some challenges you faced during production?
The challenge is always trying to realize the potential in the scene, to give Joe the resources to make the film we all wanted to make. You never seem to have enough time with a movie. I think any filmmaker would tell you that. But with all the potential things that can go wrong, we had quite a blessed shoot. It was, and I think that was testament to all the pre-planning. The more you plan, the luckier you get. So it wasn't a particularly fraught shoot, and the mood on the set was very buoyant. People were really captivated by it. Even the crew were just sort of hanging just on the edge of the set, watching all the scenes, and were moved by it, and that's unusual because they're pretty blasé.
And now seeing Gary dressed up that way, the sets, the props, the costume. Did you feel yourself when you were on set? Did you feel like you were actually in Churchill's England?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially during the House of Parliament scenes where we had 600 extras dressed up as parliamentarians, and Gary seemed so small in the midst of them, and he would stand up and prepare his speech notes, and then belt out these speeches in a way that, because we had no recordings of those speeches in Parliament. They were only recorded years later. So the theatricality that Gary uses in those scenes are we think, much closer to what would have been the fireworks delivered on that day than the rather sedate recordings made after the war.
Yeah, definitely. I felt transported, and it was incredible, the experience of it all. What was it like writing for this amazing cast?
I was writing for the cast in my head initially, of course, because you never know who's going to eventually say yes or not.
Okay.
So, but I was writing for, in the case of Winston, I was writing for an actor that you would not think would play Winston. I wanted whoever we cast to be someone you wouldn't think could play Churchill, so that you get a completely fresh take on the guy and really shake the tree in terms of our perceptions of him, because that's kind of the idea behind the whole film, is that he's such an icon that he's a figure of myth, and I wanted to show this three-dimensional man, and who, at the core of him, was a belief in this proposition that words can be enlisted to change the world. To me, that's the center of him. That's what he seemed to me to have devoted his entire life doing. So then to hear Gary soar with this rhetoric was one of the great pleasures of my life.
Wow. Were any other actors considered for the role?
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you who.
All right.
But it's a very short list, and Gary was always at the top of it. Yeah. Gary's the, I think Gary's the finest actor of his generation. Maybe he's got competition from Daniel Day-Lewis, but those two in my book are the living male acting gods.
Right. So, what do you hope audiences take away from this film?
The takeaway from I would hope was to make us all aware that that words are precious, they can be devalued, and that if the right one's chosen and they're wedded to the right idea, they can create unity, dissolve differences between people, and that we should be very careful with the words we use, especially the words our leaders use.
All right. Now, are there any other historical figures that you plan on writing about?
Well, I seem to be in a kind of ridiculous frenzy of portraiture. I'm working on Freddie Mercury, John Lennon, and Yoko Ono, Pope Benedict, Pope Francis. Who else? Catherine the Great.
All right.
It's quite a mixed bunch.
Yeah. So you must be, obviously you're fascinated with history and, important figures throughout history. I'm curious, as a writer, what makes for a compelling story in your mind?
It's funny. The magnitude of the life is not necessarily indicative of a great story. For example, I was offered Albert Einstein, and so I read this terrific biography of Albert Einstein, Man of the Century. I couldn't find a movie in there. I couldn't find the story that moved me. And there's no questioning the importance of his life and what his gift to humanity. But so you can find someone on a street corner who's got the story that you want to tell. So it's weird. It's not always the famous iconic figures. With Stephen Hawking, it was only when I read Jane Hawking's book that somewhere halfway through the book I turned a page and saw a detail or two that I thought, that's the movie. So you have to see even within great lives, you have to find something that conforms to a 3-act structure, and our lives, frankly, most lives, frankly, don't. I mean, we have, what did Scott Fitzgerald say? There's no 3rd act in American life. Well, that's where the writer has to find one. Okay,
interesting. Are there any writers who have inspired your craft?
Oh, many. Yeah. As novelists, playwrights, people like Saul Bellow, the great American writer, John Updike, people like Gabriel Garcia Marquez with his poetry. Playwrights, Arthur Miller would probably be the top of my list. Good. Chekhov, Shakespeare, and screenwriters, people like David Mamet.
Oh yes.
Aaron Sorkin's terrific with his language. Paddy Chayefsky, Orson Welles.
Nice. Quite a list.
Yeah.
Are there any actors or filmmakers that you haven't worked with that you'd want to in the future?
Yeah, many. I'd love to work with David Fincher. I'd love to work with Darren Aronofsky.
Nice.
To real modern masters. And I'd love to work with Joe Wright again. He's our kind of living Alfred Hitchcock.
Nice. So I'm curious, did you socialize, did you hang out with the cast and crew when the cameras weren't rolling?
Yeah. Gary really only appeared to us in the form of Winston Churchill for the whole shoot. And that was for practical reasons. He had to be there 4 hours before us. So he was already incarnate as Winston by the time we got there. And then he was an hour in makeup at the end of the day, so we'd already gone home. So we didn't see Winston for the whole shoot. We didn't see Gary for the whole shoot. We only saw Winston. But I've had the great pleasure of getting to know him and become friends with him and Ben Mendelsohn, who's a terrific man, and Kristen Scott Thomas, who's loveliness personified. So we're all sort of on this publicity tour together. So we're all a bit of a traveling circus.
Oh, that's great. So yeah, I guess final question. What advice do you have for aspiring screenwriters?
My advice is make yourself talented just by doing it over and over and over again. Talent is not something that you inherit, at birth. It's created, and you can forge it in yourself through passionate dedication. Passionate dedication.
Agreed. All right. Well, wise words, Mr. McCarten. Wise words. Yeah, and you know what? I just want to say I hope you win an Oscar for this, or at least get a nomination again, because it's a really powerful film. The performances as well as the dialogue are phenomenal, and all of you knocked it out of the park.
Oh, that's so sweet of you to say that, and thank you for your support and writing the story and spreading the word.
Sure. I just want to thank you again, Anthony. Thank you so much for your time today.
Appreciate that too. Thank you, my man. Bye-bye.
Great film. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so that was my interview with Anthony McCarten, a very, very pleasant gentleman, and a really great film. I'm really glad I got the chance to speak to him. And in addition to that, I actually attended the screening and Q&A a few nights ago, and Gary Oldman was there, along with Ben Mendelsohn and Kristen Scott Thomas, who were all in the film as well. And yeah, it was a great night. It was a great film, and it's really resonating with me. The more I think of it, the more I appreciate it. So I believe that'll be out this Friday coming, and it's called Darkest Hour, and I really suggest you guys check it out. All right, guys, so this is our film review segment, Everyone's a Critic, and I want to welcome back two veteran guests of Under the Radar.
Sure.
We've got Mr. Kevin Mosquera.
Hopefully I also am a pleasant gentleman.
Yes, you are a pleasant gentleman, always, always. And Mr. Matt Habermann, how are you?
Happy to be here again.
Yeah?
Thanks for having me.
Good. So, guys, what's going on? How are you?
All right, good. Just, three very, very different movies we saw. So
I know. Every week I select some really interesting movies.
But obviously, the big blockbuster of the week is the one I had campaigned for.
And we will get to that we're going to build up to that one.
Oh, fine.
Let's save that best for last.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Matt. All right, guys. The first one is so bad. This is such a bad movie. It's called The Rift, Dark Side of the Moon. And the tagline reads, the synopsis rather, a team of U.S. and Serbian agents is sent to retrieve a crashed satellite, but when the team arrives at the site, all is not what it seems. So this was a terrible movie. It tried to be horror, sci-fi thriller. It did not succeed, really. It kind of succeeded. It tried very hard to be a good sci-fi thriller, but the execution was not there. It did not follow through. Kevin, what did you think?
Well, I mean, it was interesting to say the least. I think that you hit it on the nail where it tried to be too many things that it didn't succeed in any at all.
Right.
In the beginning, it looked like, all right, maybe we got a spy thriller going. Obviously, we have an American agent with a Russian accent, which I thought was very interesting. I don't know. I would think they would vet that just for obvious reasons. Well, no, I'm sorry. It starts with a tragedy, losing her son. Then it's a spy thriller. Then it goes into the sci-fi. Right. And then we ended with a little religious twist to it.
And some horror in there, too.
And some horror. Either way, I struggled. To be very honest with you on that. And
thankfully, it was only an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's my little quip on it. We could definitely dive into some other things, but I'm sure you got some great little pointers there, too.
For what I think of this movie, it's like there's just so many things that were all over the place in this movie. You have first, for what you said, the mother just had a son died of cancer, and then goes in, and then she's a special agent. For all of a sudden, she's CIA agent, and then they go out and they see this weird family,
right? In like some kind of I wouldn't say haunted house, but it's kind of an old house, run down.
It's like a factory. It was a factory.
Was it?
An old abandoned factory. An abandoned factory house in the back, and one of the delusional shooting at them. And,
the action sequences were lame. The acting, everything about this, I don't know. I could not wrap my head around it, how bad this movie was.
And then let's all go crazy. That's what it is.
I couldn't. Did you guys understand what that kid was with the white suit? And he was like, was he blind or I don't know? This kid running around the forest. It was odd.
So basically, the tagline on IMDb was, which really bothers me. This is apparently the theme of the film, and everybody mumbled it. So unless you watch with closed captioning,
death is dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known it. So death is dead. So basically, anybody who has died is still living. It's a zombie twist to it.
Right.
And so that kid's dead. Okay. His family is dead, but they get brought back to life, and clearly they're not in full control of their mind. They're acting like zombies.
That's what the rift is. Back when they had the Apollo missions at NASA, they found this rift, this portal to like a different dimension. It's awful.
Well, maybe not even different dimension, more like just some form of black hole to take you back to Earth, and who knows what happens in between.
We're gonna go the science route.
I'm trying to rationalize something about this. I mean,
I don't think you can.
We look at like this as a time warp,
and
then we feel, this person was, I went by and I felt something, and I had this necklace all along. Oh my God, it was your necklace all along. And then for all of a sudden, like, I think I understand now. Now I'm gonna kill myself.
Death is dead. So, I don't really want to talk about this movie any further.
No.
Just a little thing.
Please.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about and how somehow we're trying to make basically an astronaut into some form of Christ character. Because at the end, it's all done. Did anybody else feel like they were looking at old school MTV commercials with the
astronaut?
With the astronaut, like just the whole layout of the moon. The astronauts, I mean, granted, how many different astronaut outfits can you have? But it looked like an MTV commercial. If he had a flag with an MTV logo on at any point, I probably would have enjoyed the movie more.
I honestly did not catch that. That's quite a random thing to think about.
Well, speaking of random things,
yes.
How about her boss at the very beginning? That guy looked like Raiden from the second Mortal
Kombat. The long white hair.
Oh, yeah, and not even the best Raiden, obviously.
Awful actor, too.
Well, apparently he's the director for one of these movies.
Is he?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I think the film is actually also Serbian. It's from Serbia.
The great country of Serbia produces some epic films.
Apparently so. All right, guys. So final thoughts on The Rift, Dark Side of the Moon?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Not on your radar.
No.
Okay.
Not even if I was ridiculously drunk.
Yeah. That is craziness. That is just a terrible, terrible movie. So, guys, The Rift, stay far away from it, please. Do yourselves a favor. All right, next movie, in my opinion, not as bad, but still not great. Love is Thicker Than Water. A poor Welsh student falls in love with a girl from a wealthy family. Kind of like a modern Romeo and Juliet, but like watered down, not as intense. Matt, what'd you think?
Oh my god, it was horrible.
It wasn't. You really?
I was falling asleep to it. When I fall asleep to a movie, it is horrible.
Okay, fair enough. Kevin?
I think this is one where maybe I could have appreciated it more because it was more of a realistic approach to, I guess, relationships. But I did read the description beforehand, and you kind of mentioned the Romeo and Juliet story.
Yeah.
There's no Romeo and Juliet. That
no,
is a slap in the face to
No
Shakespeare.
way.
Okay,
No.
The families got along.
Yeah.
Yes, they had differences, but that is exactly what it is. That's real life.
Yeah.
It had some interesting quips that I think they really tried to hang on to make like little comedic moments of it. But overall, if I can't describe the story to you, I feel like that's a weakness in the writer.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a relationship, but what about this relationship are we really looking at?
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell you.
I mean, they're attractive leads, but the story itself falls flat. I've seen this a bunch of times before. I wasn't interested in the characters at all. Like, they annoyed me a little bit.
The male character, I just wanted to he was just basically a coward.
Yeah.
For after, let's face it, we have both of them had a death in the family around the same time. Of course, they're both being considerate to each other, but one just felt like after the male character, after the father's death, felt, oh, I have to stay here for my family and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't move on with life. Life goes on.
Yeah. You thought it was a little melodramatic?
I think it was definitely melodramatic.
Yeah.
And for the most part of this, I was like, you know what? You're a coward. Take care of your life.
Jeez. It's some aggression, Mr. Habermann. But I like it. I like the fire. It's good.
Well, honestly, to his point, it was just a matter of they try to hammer it so hard, to make certain points or commentary on, I guess, social class,
working class family versus wealthy.
Yeah,
family.
You get frustrated because you're either gonna go all in and say, "I'm gonna give you my point of view on something," or "I'm gonna make this realistic." And if you go all in, you better give me at least an interesting story. Because realistically, nobody's gonna be completely one way or the other. What are we supposed to get out of it? Rich people have ambition. Poor people don't have ambition, but they have stronger family values.
Right. Seen that before.
Yeah, I don't know if I fully buy it if you're going to make this more of a realistic tale. I'm
on
sure
social
there's
class
shades.
Issues.
Yeah, I'm sure there's shades of everything and everybody. Knowing you and knowing your, I guess, fandom of classic Comedy Central. The lead was an animator. You got a little the male lead. That's why they had all those weird cartoons on it.
Oh yeah, Johnny Flynn.
You got a little Dr. Katz feel out of that too, or was that just
me?
Kind
of. I guess the squiggly. They call that squiggle vision.
Sure, squiggle vision. It is. We'll go with
They
that.
also did it with home movies. That show on that was Adult Swim or something. But yeah, that's an interesting comparison. Dr. Katz, I like that.
I mean, one's more entertaining, but
yes, of course.
I just also felt like he was good, but he was never sure of himself. He lacked confidence.
Yeah.
That's what he did. His character was the character in it was to lack confidence.
Yeah, he was kind of a slacker. He just existed, kind of not really going anywhere. Yeah.
It's you understood why he was into her. Mm-hmm.
What did she see? Well, it was probably mostly physical for her. She saw it,
Oh, you're gonna go there, aren't you?
Yeah. No, he wasn't a bad-looking guy. Had like a British Heath Ledger type of thing going on.
All right, if we're gonna go physical, why would any child ever find it funny to hear their parents having sex? That was one of the most awkward scenes I think ever.
There's a few awkward scenes in this. But yeah, definitely star-crossed lovers in these scenes. What do you think of the acting, though? Aside from the story, but the actors themselves, did you think that they gave convincing performances?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that. I think with what they had, they made me believe it. He looked like a slacker. She looked like she had a little more ambition. I think the family quirks were there. I think they were limited in the writing they were given.
Yeah.
But nobody really came across as a poor actor. I mean, everybody found some point of view, reflected it accordingly, and
I like the family, the parents of each of them. I thought they were really good actors. Actually, they gave very strong parental roles. It came through in their performance.
It just shows that they were This Is Life.
Yeah.
It wasn't trying to be anything else but life in general.
Mm-hmm.
I guess at that point, the scene where the widow and the widower, I guess that would be the term, when they're together in the house kind of talking about making arrangements. No, just before the funeral. Like, that was a nice scene. Like, that seemed very real. Mm-hmm. It was very honest. That, I think you got a little more sense of what the writer felt about relationships. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, I did for a second think those parents might get together.
Yeah,
that
definitely crossed my mind when they were on the couch talking.
Yeah.
But it was good. That was a realistic scene. But overall, the movie kind of lackluster, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
I was not a fan of it.
Yeah,
for a movie that can put me to sleep.
Yeah. See, when it comes to sleeping with movies, it can go either way.
Do you at least take them out to dinner first?
Yeah. Touche. No, it could either be really boring, like you found it.
I found it very boring. Absolutely.
Or the movie can be so like interesting and comforting. Like you feel so good. I'm just gonna take a nap. This is an awesome movie. I'm gonna drift off now because I feel great. You know what I mean?
If it's a movie that I've seen 100 times and I don't mind falling asleep to, then that's something.
I'm definitely like that with 2001: A Space Odyssey because it's so long and dull, but it's just beautiful. Anyway, final thoughts on Love is Thicker Than Water. Matt.
Don't even see it. Move away.
I'm right in the middle. I'm neutral. Mm-hmm. I don't hate it. I don't love it. You know, it's exactly that. It seemed like a decent indie movie. Yeah. Just basically, if you want to take a gamble, there are worse movies to watch.
Much worse. Yeah. Much.
If there's a movie that you feel like falling asleep to, then see Love is Thicker Than Water.
Yeah. Well, I kind of liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. I thought the performances were decent. The story was okay, but it's been done before. But yeah, that's Love is Thicker Than Water. Check it out if you're curious. You know, maybe a good date movie. Maybe. All right. So finally, the movie that we've all been waiting to talk about, the DC superhero epic Justice League. It just came out. And it's basically your favorite superheroes: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, The Flash, Aquaman.
Yes.
No Martian Manhunter, actually. That was replaced by Cyborg.
Yeah, and then technically Green Lantern would be an original member. But
we did.
Yeah. But anyway, this is a huge movie. It's insane. It's like the biggest movie of the year, I'd say. No?
In terms,
I'll give
that to Star Wars when it comes out.
Oh, true, good point. We'll get to that too.
I think for the Thanksgiving holiday season, because we have some big movies that come out towards the holidays.
Yeah, definitely a good. After you have your food, your turkey, you're in a good state of mind. Go see this movie. So, Kevin, we'll start with what did you think of this movie?
I think it's exactly kind of what I expected. We started. I mean, just to get a little background, right? We have Zack Snyder, Zack Snyder, excuse me, who initially signed up for this due to personal family reasons. He did not get to complete it, so I know Josh Whedon came in, filmed some more scenes, and then even added some of his quips to it.
And now Snyder did Man of Steel. That was his first DC movie.
Yeah.
If you don't, Watchmen is a while back.
But to your point, there were some scenes that looked like
very visual.
So I think that's what it is. It was it didn't suffer as badly, I think, as a Suicide Squad, but you did feel like there were two movies in one combined.
Interesting.
I could dive a little more into it, but overall, decent. Yeah. I think it's one almost, if you want to think back when I guess superhero movies before really I guess Marvel started on how they showed you something. It wasn't anything amazing. I think it's that thing where it's like they lost a little direction.
Yeah.
But there was still some entertaining aspects to it.
I will say now for Justice League, I enjoyed it. I think it was definitely a good film, and although now we see Ben Affleck as Batman, I felt like they could have put a different actor as Batman.
Who do you see as a good Batman?
Well, I say would be good Batman, Nicolas Cage.
I don't know about that. I mean, he almost played Superman. I could have let that fly, but Nick Cage as Batman, I don't know.
Well, the rumor is Batfleck's out, Gyllenhaal's in. That's the current rumor.
See, I like that choice. That's a good choice. I actually think he's a little older, but maybe Josh Brolin. I think he'd be like a hardcore Batman, kick some ass. No?
No, I can see that. I mean, he's got a lot on his plate in the superhero world right now. He's playing two people.
Yeah.
Cable and
Thanos.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that's good. Both in Marvel, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, once all CGI, he can get away with it.
Wait, so this is actually the first I'm hearing of Jake Gyllenhaal as a potential Batman. Is that true?
The rumor is the next Batman solo movie, which doesn't have a date yet, might be Gyllenhaal, because basically Affleck wants out. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
And they might wait till, Justice League kind of settles down, because they don't want to overshadow what this movie in theory could do.
Did Affleck say why? What his reasons were?
I didn't read too much detail on that, to be honest with you.
Interesting. Interesting.
All conjecture right now, yeah.
Yeah, I could see Gyllenhaal. That'd be decent. So what did you guys think of the actors who played some of our favorite superheroes? Matt?
I think Gal Gadot was awesome as Wonder Woman.
Great. She's awesome, yeah.
I think she's done a hell of a job so far with the Wonder Woman that came out over the summer as well.
In my opinion, a much better movie than Justice League, unfortunately.
Hands down.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely DC's best film yet.
Lately anyway.
Lately. I mean, let's face it, with this whole DC cinematic universe for this whole era started with Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I was not feeling the Man of Steel I felt. Probably still because I was still in like that 1970s Superman era. Because that's my big fan. But I also, it amazes me how long it took Hollywood to put all these superheroes together.
Right.
We've seen Superman came out, the first Superman, in the 1970s.
78.
1977, 1978.
And then the last Superman was 87. And then 2 years later, Tim Burton's Batman came out.
Yeah.
Although I do say that the Superman 3 and Superman 4 were horrible.
They are pretty bad, but they've got some redeeming qualities. Like I really like Nuclear Man, the villain in Part 4, who was created from nuclear missiles exploding.
Superman 4 wanted to try and have like a thing of world peace. There was some... And I think it's also that Christopher Reeve was a producer for that or something.
Well, yeah, it's a shame what happened to Christopher Reeve, but he definitely left his mark on Hollywood legacy there with Superman. He is Superman. Like, forget Henry Cavill,
and definitely forget Brandon Routh.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a close second would be Dean Cain, or maybe Tim Daly from. Was it Tim Daly from Superman the animated series?
The series?
Yeah.
Or the
animated
cartoon?
Series, yeah, the cartoon.
Oh, I couldn't even tell you his name.
No, I think it's Tim Daly.
I would think would be put in as a good Superman. Put in Smallville's Tom Welling.
There you go. That's interesting. Yeah, I thought they were gonna Superman Returns in 2006 instead of Ralph. They were gonna go the Tom Welling route.
I would have gone that route.
I would have liked to have seen that. You were a Smallville fan. I know.
I was. It was. I like the show. Definitely just. I'm trying to think. I'm like, there's so many DC characters on TV. None of them make the movies. Yeah. Like they like to kind of separate those worlds.
Yeah. Like, why did they use? They use a different actor from. They didn't use the actor from the Flash TV show right now.
Gary Gustin.
I don't know, but they used Ezra Miller for the movie. Like, why didn't they just bridge the TV show with the movie? Like, wouldn't that have made a little more sense to fans anyway?
I mean, they're just separating worlds on that one. I guess.
Like DC. I love DC. Don't get me wrong. Since 4 years old, I've loved Batman. But there you go. Yes, but I don't know. DC doesn't seem to be doing too great in terms of connecting characters and worlds. Like it's all different, like pieces of a puzzle, but they're all scattered on the desk. They got to connect them.
Do they?
I think they should.
Marvel's already doing it.
Marvel's doing it.
Yeah,
Marvel's doing a great job. Why can't DC follow in those footsteps?
Exactly. They got to make their own stake, though. Because even that, I've heard that they're not really using the extended universe anymore. That was something that reporters used. That's not a real thing. There's solo films on the docket. Like the next Batman's a solo movie,
and they're all probably going to be in that Zack Snyder style, right?
But here's the thing: what's been going on with these solo movies. Marvel has put it. You have Captain America: Civil War, but it's not really solo Captain America. You have in there Black Panther made their debut in that. You have Iron Man and
Spider-Man showed up.
Showed up. So it was not really. It was focused on Captain America, but it wasn't really a Captain America movie.
Mm-hmm. Fair point, but that was the third Captain America movie too. He got his own time in the first one and the second.
Right, his own time. So they're not really standalone movies anymore. They're not.
Yeah, they had to build them up individually first, and then bring them together in a team.
Even I don't know if I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok. Even the Thor movie it's not just Thor anymore. You got Hulk in there, Doctor Strange.
Have you seen it, Kev?
Oh yeah, I saw the right.
Yeah, I know you're a big Marvel guy.
Yeah, so obviously my reviews tend to be a little biased, but
and because of this competition, even DC is coming out with it. It was Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. Even Wonder Woman was in it. So it's not really a Batman versus Superman. You had a Wonder Woman in there, too.
Yeah, they threw everyone in there.
And pretty much, it was to throw it in to introduce what we have now, Justice.
Right. So, guys, growing up or even currently, are you still reading comic books, Matt?
Yes.
You are? Cool. All right. Good. Kev?
I stick to TV and movies.
Yeah. I'm more that route. But,
obviously, I know the background for a lot of them, so when they do something that's a little off color, or I'm sorry, just not true to the comics, I think I would notice. That being said, not true to comics, because Whedon came in, and I think they try to make Batman funnier, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Seeing that movie, I feel like the Batman-esque character was more Cyborg.
He would not
was more
smile.
of a Debbie Downer.
Right. Yes, he was.
However, I can see in this movie I'm not trying to give it away, but I can see, in part of the movie, I can see something coming to light. I can see a real-life Batman Beyond film.
Oh, yes. Okay. Interesting. And,
I'd be curious to what gave that away, which I don't want to... No spoilers, but interesting, yeah.
A rumor was... not a rumor, but it was something fans would have hoped for was an older Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond type of setting. Kevin, do you have an idea who might be a good Terry McGinnis?
Terry McGinnis?
Yeah.
Well, so you need a young guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Around teenage. Who's the hot young?
I can only think of what's his name from Baywatch, Zac Efron. But he's not that young anymore.
Nah, but he looks it.
Yeah.
He can get away with it. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Matt, do you have anyone in mind for Terry McGinnis?
I was maybe the actor in the show I, Robot from the USA series.
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. Oh, yeah, good choice. I like that. Remy Malek, I think his name is?
Yeah.
He's good. He's very good. Side note, I actually worked an event. I volunteered for Mr. Robot, a promotional party. I don't know do you guys watch the show at all?
Yeah.
No.
I watched the first season.
Basically, they were filming... it was a launch party for this new type of currency. This evil corporation comes out with eCoin, which is like a new type of way of paying for things digitally. And basically, I helped out an event where they kind of sort of filmed it. It was like a live TV episode. It was different, to say the least. But that was through Barbecue Films. Great company, great events, and check them out.
I want to get back to even with the Justice League subject. Not trying to get it, but I also want to appreciate the music that was used in it. It paid homage to the 1989 Batman film and the 1970s Superman. Even though how they put it in there, I was like, okay, it's not ignoring the past.
Of course, no, it's a beautiful tribute to the scores of the 70s and 80s. And Danny Elfman, who actually composed the score for Justice League, the whole score, included his original Batman theme in certain moments.
Oh yeah.
With like J.K. Simmons and the Bat Signal, different moments. Very well placed, very awesome. I wish there was more of it, to be honest.
I wish there was more J.K. Simmons, to be honest. I was like, what a great actor that was just completely underutilized.
I know.
He had, maybe 15 lines in the whole movie?
Yeah, not enough. And it sucks too because Gary Oldman is also a great Commissioner Gordon. So I'm debating who the better Gordon is. I don't know.
Well, you have a Commissioner Gordon, but you didn't have a Perry White.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they didn't bring him in.
Yeah, they were in the Daily Planet, but there was no Perry White. Who's that snarky Asian guy who was like, "Ooh, I got the story, you didn't."
Nameless reporter.
At first, I thought it was maybe a Jimmy Olsen. Because there was no Jimmy Olsen's.
No, Olsen's a photographer.
And he's dead in this universe. They killed him in...
Dun, dun, dun.
That movie is old. I can say they killed Jimmy Olsen in Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, yeah. That's a spoiler, but we're not reviewing that movie, so it doesn't count.
Okay, I'm pretty sure right now it's been out for those.
See Batman 3 years now.
Superman.
Yeah.
So here's about spoilers.
Bruce Willis was dead in Sixth Sense. All right, let's get it all out of the way right now. Vader is Skywalker's father,
and we're gonna touch on that a little bit towards the end. But what did you guys think of Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Master of the Oceans?
That was one character. I did not like that character of Aquaman.
Really?
I just felt that the way that they used Aquaman, not really like anything. There was no power of. I can't even.
It's hard to like. He's on land. He's this macho. He's going to kick anyone's ass. But when he's underwater, he's just kind of floating, and that's the extent of the Aquaman character in this movie.
I didn't think they used him.
They don't know how to utilize him.
They didn't use him right. That's how I felt in it.
See, I don't think I disagree with you guys on this one.
Okay.
I think they took a chance on something different, and it worked. What's Aquaman in the comics? Clean cut king or prince, depending on the time, from Atlantis, right? So semi-god, which they touched on in the movie. Who's a very clean cut semi-god? Superman and Wonder Woman. You can't have a third just like that.
Yeah.
So let's make him a drunken surfer-esque street thug who likes to fight. It's something different. It'll give you a different movie, which they're working on.
Right.
Why not?
I'm just curious to see what direction they're going to go with that. I don't know.
There's going to definitely be a standalone Aquaman movie. Yeah. I would like it to just stick for how they did Wonder Woman. Keep like it with Aquaman.
You mean like an origin story?
An origin story is one thing, but that I would like to see. Obviously, if they come out with a movie for the Flash, it's definitely not going to be the Flash alone.
Right. They're going to intertwine characters. That's true.
They made him too weak. That was also crazy.
Flash?
Yeah.
But he had the best lines.
Oh, he did have the best.
He was so funny.
Yeah, that's where, once again, you see Joss Whedon working. Those are just funny quips and all. But like,
kind of like Xander from Buffy.
Well, yeah, that was his voice. He always said that basically was who he was speaking as.
Nice. So yeah, more J.K. Simmons. I would have appreciated. Okay. Final thoughts on Justice League, Matt? I
enjoyed it. I think it's definitely a good movie. As far as for what I say about all superhero movies sells from generation to generation, and I would definitely see it. If you're into it, definitely see it.
Cool. Kevin, final thoughts?
Do I think it should be bashed as much as critics are bashing it? No. Do I think it's the best superhero movie DC's come out with? No. It's one of the middle. It's right in between.
Right.
You're going to have some entertaining points, but you're going to feel like there are two different voices there. Zack Snyder, super dark. Yeah. Joss Whedon want to be a little campy and funny.
Yeah.
And depending on the scene, your characters are going to respond differently. But overall, I mean, hey, everybody's always wanted to see these characters together, so why not give it a shot?
Yeah, I mean, it is cluttered, it's overblown, I think the CGI is obnoxious, actually. It's like too much, and it just takes away from the story. I think they could have used a little more practical effects as opposed to CGI, and that's like one of my main complaints regarding it. Too much CGI.
Even for how it is, and I've always been putting it this way, I'm just amazed of how long it took to get all these characters to make a movie together.
A live action, anyway.
A live action movie together.
Well, they tried. I think they filmed a pilot in like 1997, a Justice League TV show pilot. I think you can find it online.
There's been that stuff in it for the Justice League TV show pilot. I mean, if you look back at Smallville, there was...
Yeah, the Justice Society, right, of America.
They hinted at both.
Yeah.
And you got what you got out right now on television on DC, Legends of Tomorrow, which is kind of like that in a way.
What, that's just basically a Justice League, but in the future?
It's like C-rate superheroes together, like fighting time.
And you have Brandon Routh in it.
He's in that too?
Yes.
Of course. Who does he play?
Adam.
Okay, cool.
The very well-respected superhero known as the Atom.
Yes.
I just... I mean, some of those action scenes... Like, that's probably what I think was really lacking. I'm like, there never felt like there were big stakes in this movie. It felt like, hey, well, they're verbally saying it's a big deal, like the world's coming to an end, but it never really felt like they were in danger.
Yeah.
I mean, Wonder Woman's doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
They way too much with her bracelets,
right.
And I really want to see another badass Batman action sequence like the last movie.
I actually think there was a very small sequence in Suicide Squad where Batman showed up in an alley with Deadshot. That was awesome. If they could have made a movie more in that vein, I think it would have been a lot better. That's like that old school comic book animated series vibe that I really think Justice League missed the mark on this one.
I think for what Justice League is, they're trying to go through what Marvel did. Like in the beginning, you have like the Avengers film. You just have you have Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk. So you only have so they're starting out with just these simple characters: Superman,
Right.
Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and the Flash.
Right.
We are going. I'm sure, like, there's going to be a ton of movies where we're going to be seeing the rest of the characters come to fight. Green Lantern.
And you know what? It's fun. Yeah, this movie is almost pretty much a clone of Avengers. It's the same, almost the same story. You have
Same writer.
Yeah. It's like why
Well,
can't they come with some originality?
But here's something. It's even in the comics is kind of for what an originality. In Marvel Comics, it's always started with a guy to assemble it. It's always a rich guy to assemble a team.
Yeah.
So you had Tony Stark, who is the rich guy in Marvel Comics.
It's only probably a few more years, maybe a decade, where we're going to see DC versus Marvel. Because I know they did that crossover in the 90s in comic books.
I don't think
I
that's
may own
ever...
that.
I know you do.
Yes, I know it.
Awesome.
And you have and like I said, for the rich guy in DC Comics, you got Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of parallels. So I hear that. So guys, we have a few more minutes. I just wanted to talk about maybe another famous sci-fi franchise, Star Wars. Matt, are you excited for The Last Jedi?
I am excited for The Last Jedi. I do have some theories of what's going to happen.
Anything you can share that's not spoiler-ish?
Well,
None of those are spoilers.
here's what I think. I know I've talked about it on another show that was on. Mm-hmm. How you doing, Shaggy? So, I think for one, the thing is that we all know like there's going to be something with like Luke Skywalker. Now, in this series, I think Luke Skywalker is a gray Jedi. There's things in the past. There's a gray Jedi, which like is neutral, can tap into the dark side, and then come back.
Okay. No, that's been a theory, a fan theory that he will probably be evil. No, I guess Sith. That's the yes. Dark Jedi. Yeah, I think he might become a Sith Lord. But
I'm also contradicting myself as more as I read into Sith. And maybe Sith wasn't so bad after all.
Well, the Sith aren't. You don't want to take them out on a picnic.
They just blew up a few planets, but they're not bad.
Killed a couple thousand. Yeah, not good.
No. But I am really excited to see this film.
That's good. Kevin?
Honestly, as long as it's not a rehash, like I really felt like the last one was, I'm all for it.
Are you talking about Rogue One or the continuation?
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. That's the one that kind of...
Rogue One I liked. It was something different, a little flavor for it. It's just always interesting because... Obviously, it being a prequel, the ending of the film. Mm-hmm. But in terms of Force Awakens, as long as it's not like that, where it's just change the characters' names and it's basically the same story, I'm all for it.
It is. No, I agree with that. And again, originality is coming at a cost these days. We're not getting much of it, and it sucks because the kids today they need quality films.
For our children. Or
yes, for our children. Our children. No, it's true. I mean, okay, back to DC though, and Marvel. No, we've got decades upon decades of material that we could turn into interesting movies. But when they come up with something like Justice League or Force Awakens, it's been done before, and it's just not interesting.
Well, you gotta look at this thing. Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel.
Right.
Most of Marvel. There's
Right.
some things they don't have the rights to X-Men, although they had like some. Why Spider-Man is in it was because of some deal.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is trying to make all the money because they spend all this money, so they made this as an investment. So they're trying to milk everything that it's worth to make the the ink,
including turning I think like every animated film into live action. I think that they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
They've already done it with Cinderella, which was really good, by the way. Then they did it with Beauty and the Beast, which came out earlier this year. Not impressed.
And they're doing it with The Lion King. Now, I know I've seen
live action lion.
Yeah, and I've seen some stuff with the cast. Now, I know one thing definitely for the cast, which I'm very, very happy about for The Lion King, which I'm looking, which comes out in 2019, that they are going to bring back James Earl Jones as Mufasa.
Wow.
That's the only returning cast member.
What about Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella?
No, I was very unhappy about that.
I'm very surprised by that.
Seth Rogen, I want to say, is
Seth
Pumbaa.
Pumbaa?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
The voice works.
And Paul Rudd as Timon?
No.
I'm trying to remember who Timon was.
How can you get rid of Nathan Lane? That's sacrilege.
It's not even that. Not even Whoopi Goldberg comes back, or Cheech and Chong comes back as the hyenas.
What about Jeremy Irons?
So you're talking about how kids don't have anything new, but you want them to bring back all the same actors for a remake?
Touche.
So which is it?
I'm just curious to see what they're going to do. I don't know.
I do agree. I'm glad they did James Earl Jones. There's no one else that I feel that can play Mufasa than James Earl Jones.
Yeah, but I'm curious how they're going to do it. Like, is it going to be... They're going to shoot live action backgrounds and then do CGI.
It's all going to be CGI.
Yeah.
It has to be CGI.
It just seems like a waste of money to make that. They all seem like a waste of money.
How else would you do it? Just have animals and somebody move their lips like Mr. Ed?
I don't know. Maybe we could do like a funny like
The Jungle
Muppet.
Book is mostly CGI live action, except
true.
you have Mowgli.
That's a good point.
But they've had there's been a couple of live action Jungle Books, but
yeah. The one in 94 was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, final thoughts on Star Wars. Excited?
I am excited about that film. I've been a Star Wars fan for so long. So
nice, Kevin.
As long as Disney doesn't screw me with a rehash story, I'm good.
I know. Cautiously optimistic, as they say. Okay, guys. So, anything you want to plug? Any websites? Facebook, Twitter?
Well, one thing I definitely am looking forward to is that there is a Comic-Con coming up on December 9th, which has all the Justice League cast members except for Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
For Ace Comic-Con is going to be at the Nassau Coliseum December 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Nice, that'll be good. Kev, anything you want to plug or looking forward
Try and find me internet if you can. That's all I'll say.
Yes. You along with Carmen Sandiego.
And Waldo.
Yeah. That's a dinner I'd like to go to.
Where would it be?
Oh, touche. All right, guys. Well, that about wraps it up with to this week's Under the Radar. Next week, it'll be I think 2 days after Thanksgiving. We will have actor George Papadematos and fellow Ghostbusters Josh Yoder and Mila Sabalos. We'll be reviewing the films Almost Friends, Mr. Roosevelt, and Destined. I just want to thank everyone for joining, and I want to wish everyone a very, very happy Thanksgiving to you and your loved ones. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.